Greetings everybody, Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another one of my Richard's Rock Rambles. So if you are new to the channel, let me tell you a little bit about the channel. What we do here is we chat about all things rock, whether it's blues or metal or classic rock or progressive rock, jazz rock, fusion sometimes. That's pretty much what we cover. So I thought what I'd do for the next couple of videos is check out some covers albums. Now, yes, I know covers can be sort of a hit and miss thing. Sometimes bands should have rather just left alone and not tried to cover certain bands or certain tracks. And also it can become a little bit of a karaoke thing. You know, that's the one thing I don't like about covers. If it's too close to the original, then what's the point? Put your own stamp on it. You know, you're this band doing that band's music, but with your own sound or your own feel to it. A little bit different. That's what I like. Like I said, it can go horribly wrong, and it has done on many occasions. But we're going to check out a few albums where I think it's kind of worked. So the first one we're going to check out is a band called the Honeydrippers. Now, you may not have heard of that band, but you will have certainly heard of the lead singer, one Robert Plant. Yes, the man who screeched and screamed for Led Zeppelin. So what he did was he put this band together in sort of early 80s, I think it was around 83. And they were doing sort of 50s doo-wop stuff and rock and roll, what have you, going back to the roots. And Ahmet Ertegun, the guy who was the president of Atlantic Records, the man who got Led Zeppelin their big break, that's kind of the music that he grew up with, and he was really into that. And he saw these guys live and he thought, it would be nice if you guys did an album together. And so Robert Plant thought, okay, let me do something for the Ahmed here. And they put out this album called the Honeydrippers Volume 1. Don't ask me why it's called Volume 1. There we go, that's the album cover there, very much a 50s cover with a sax player and everything else. Yeah, it's Volume 1, but there's never been a Volume 2, so hey, who knows? It's not actually a full-length album. This is an EP. There's only 5 tracks on here. And we'll get to the tracks in a minute. Let me just see if there's anything else I can show you inside. I don't think this has ever had a deluxe treatment, so there's just the tracks. And there's a saxophone, so it's pretty basic. So released in September of 1984, a year after the Honeydrippers got together. On Atlantic Records president Ahmet Ertegun, I've told you about that. Some of his favorite 50 songs. So who's in the band? Robert Plant on vocals. Excellent voice. His voice works very well with this. Just remember, this is not Led Zeppelin. This is 50 style doo-wop, rock and roll, a bit of ballads as well. Jeff Beck on guitar on the tracks I Got a Woman and Rockin' at Midnight. Robert's old buddy Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin also on guitar on Sea of Love, I Get a Thrill. Nile Rodgers on rhythm guitar. Paul Schaefer on piano. He's the guy that had that, he does that sort of not Saturday Night Live, but he's sort of a studio musician. He's done a lot of TV shows. So he's there on piano. Dave Weckl on drums, great jazz drummer. Wayne Pedswater on bass, and Keith Evans on sax, and he plays sax on the track Rockin' at Midnight. There is a 2007 release of this, so I got that wrong. There is a re-release which has one live bonus track, Rockin' at Midnight, live at the Birmingham NEC in September 85. So it has been re-released with one bonus live track. So the tracks on here, let's get into it. The first track is called I Get a Thrill. Very much sort of in the doo-wop style. A lot of backing vocals, sort of, that 50s style walking bass, acoustic bass. Really cool, actually. Some nice guitar work as well. So that's the first track, I Get a Thrill. Then there's a track called Sea of Love, which is if you've never thought Robert Plant could do crooning, well, that's him doing crooning. Not a bad track. Not my favorite, though. It's a bit sort of iffy for me. I Got a Woman, that's the third track. Also sort of a 50s style. These are all 50 styles. Young Boy Blues, that's track 4. That's quite cool. And then the last track, Rockin' at Midnight, which on the 2007 release has a live version as well. It's a nice oddity. If you're a completist like I am and you want to get all the Zeppelin stuff and all the offshoots, this is one to get. I've got to be in the mood for this, I have to be honest. It's not something I reach for straight away. But it's a nice production. Nice to see him with old Jimmy Page there playing some really cool. You can hear the difference between Page and Beck. Very distinctive styles. Produced by New Getry. I think that's a play on words, and the fabulous Brill Brothers. And like I said, this came out in 1984. The Honeydrippers Volume 1. Never a Volume 2. Second one I'm going to chat about. An album by a gentleman who played with Ozzy for a couple of albums. Jake E. Lee, the guitarist. And he released an album called Retraced. So this is basically the tracks that he grew up with that influenced him when he was a sort of a young guitarist. And there's some really cool tracks on here. It does tend to tag off towards the end. There's a few missteps towards the end. But for the most part, this is a really good covers album. It rocks. It's got some really nice musicians playing with him as well. So Jakey Lee's here on guitars. Chris Logan on vocals. Now this guy's a kind of a vocalist for hire. I had to look online just to see what else he's done. So he's sort of like a session singer, if you like. And he's sung on a few albums. And he sings really well on this one. He manages to capture the essence of most of these songs. The great Ainsley Dunbar on drums. I mean, who hasn't Ainsley Dunbar played for? David Bowie, Frank Zappa. There's so many bands. Journey. He's played for everybody. So he's there on drums. And the great Tim Bogert on bass, who I think has passed away. He passed away a few years back. Tim Bogert, of course, was the bass player for the band Cactus. Also released a few solo albums. So that's the lineup. Jakey Lee, Chris Logan, Ainsley Dunbar, and Tim Bogert. So let me just see if there's anything else I can show you inside. There's Jakey Lee, one of the most underrated guitarists ever to play for Ozzy, in my humble opinion. There's another shot of him there. And this is on the Mike Varney label, Shrapnel Records. And produced by Jakey Lee, co-produced by Michael Lardy, and the associate producer is Mike Varney. And recorded in Tone Factory in Las Vegas. And he says here, why did I record this? Because it's the stuff that he grew up with and songs that influenced him and the bands that influenced him as well. So let's get through the tracks. And there's some really cool tracks on here as well. Some of my favorites, and I think he's done a really good job with this. This came out in 2005, by the way. And this should still be in print. It should still be available. Whiskey Train, the first track. And Whiskey Train was originally done by Procol Harum. And yeah, really cool version on here with some nice cowbell from the drummer here, old Ainsley Dunbar. You know, got to have more cowbell. Then there's the track Evil, which was done by Cactus. So it's nice that old Tim Bogert's playing bass on here, but the upfront bass that Cactus always had. That's a really cool track. Rocking track. Way Back to the Bone. And that was originally done by Trapeze. Glenn Hughes and Friends. Also, they do that really well. I'll Be Creeping. And that was the band Free. And you know, it's not easy tackling Free stuff. Although it's blues rock, you've got to have a decent vocalist. And I must say, Chris Logan does a really good job with that track. The Free number, I'll Be Creeping. Then it's Guess I'll Go Away. And that's a Johnny Winter track. Sorry, I've got to keep checking to see what the originals were. You know, the old memory doesn't always work so good. So that's Guess I'll Go Away. Love is Worth the Blues. And that was originally done by Leslie West, Jack Bruce and Corky Lang. West, Bruce and Lang. They released about 2 or 3 albums in the early 70s. Blues rock stuff. Nice version of that on here. I Come Tumbling. Excuse me, I just need a sip of coffee here. Cheers, guys. I Come Tumbling, which of course is a Grand Funk track. And that originally appeared on the album E Pluribus Funk, one of the silver dollar. Really nice version on there. And Ainsley Dunbar gives it stick on the drums. The original Don Brewer, when he did that track, was also really good. Then there's the track Woman from the James Gang with, what's his name? Joe Walsh. Brain fart there. A Hard Way to Go, which is the Savoy Brown track, blues rock band from the UK. I Can't Stand It, which is a Robin Trower track. And you know, Robin Trower is not easy to copy because he has a particular sound to his guitar, a particular tone. But Jakey Lee puts his own stamp on it, and I think he does a really good job. And Chris Logan does some nice vocals. The original vocalist, of course, is one of my favorite, James Dewar. And then the final track, Rock Candy, which of course was a Montrose track. Sammy Hagar was the original vocalist, and they do a really cool version on here as well. Well-produced album, Jakey Lee's 2005 release, Retraced, covering tracks that he grew up with and that were an influence in sort of his formative years, if you like. Nice album. So that's that one. And the first one I chatted about, the Honeydrippers, Volume 1, Robert Plant doing his 50s doo-wop shtick, as well as a few ballads and some, a little bit different. There's even some orchestration on here, so it gives you that sort of lush 50s feel. There we go, guys. First of our look at covers albums. And I've got a few more that I'm going to go through here with you, and we'll check that out next time. Have yourselves a great week. If you haven't done so, if it's your first time on the channel, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, that'll be great. Any comments, more than welcome. Always happy to read the comments and give feedback. And take it easy, look after yourselves, and I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.